Hey, welcome in to another edition of the North Idaho Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com. It's episode 10 of this great season, and we are well underway. Golf just wrapped up last week. We have soccer districts, volleyball, and football in the near future. As always, this Prepcast is brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance and being streamed live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. I'm Hayden Uhlenkott, one of the co-hosts, and I'll bring on the other co-host, Ryan Scaggs. You're back from a vacation. We missed you. We almost fired you in the process. How is it going?
Dude, I was on the IL last week, so we're good. I was sicker than a dog last week when we would have came on. So, but yeah, no. Then I went away and had my deer hunt this weekend. That was pseudo successful. Didn't get an animal, but saw a lot of them. But yeah, no, things are good, man. Just we had the Kendrick Kamiah game on Friday night. That was a ton of fun down in Kendrick. Folks are always awesome down there. So I'll give a shout out that hospitality, man. Like they're so stinking good to us, and so just show some love to Kendrick because they love us, man. They love IdahoSports.com, and so do a number of other places that we've been. I mean, everybody's been phenomenal this year with us showing up and making Friday nights feel special. We like to put the spotlight on the kids in the community and the school, and we get a number of schools here in front of us in the next couple of weeks, so that we'll be going to some new places. So I'm excited to have the red carpet for the kids rolled out on Friday nights for football. But we got a whole lot of other stuff going on too between now and then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I kind of forget about that. All the people that it takes to make this happen and also even allow us to be able to broadcast the games. I'm just thinking of even my Lewiston broadcast last week with the game versus Sandpoint, and just the amount of people that helped me get to where I was setting up in the right spot and getting everything going, making sure you had Wi-Fi, all those things. It's always a appreciative thing to be a part of.
Yeah. The facilities people, man. Like I'll say that too. Like kind of the unsung heroes that even the facility staff at the respective schools making sure that tables are there, like the internet's turned on, or even the power is working at the outlet and wherever. But special shout out to Kendrick, though. I will say this, and other schools need to step their game up. Their Wi-Fi signal blows everybody out of the water. And like as a geek that does this stuff, like our Wi-Fi speeds at Kendrick are ridiculous when we go down there. I don't know what you experienced, but like Friday night, man, we could have probably put the broadcast in 4K. It was that good.
I don't think the Wi-Fi was that good for me. The only thing I remember is me and Tim Soflo are trying to not get stung by bees trying to plug into an outlet. So that was our only problem in early September.
We were getting dive bombed by those like little like stink beetles or whatever. Oh man,
Oh
it was
yeah.
like I was calling it our in-game flyover because we just kept getting drilled by them.
Absolutely. Comments rolling in. Ty Kep, what are you doing? You should be working right now. Glad to have you in Idaho Sports
Don't you have
last
film to
Friday.
break down? Like,
Come on, Ty. You got stuff to do. I have a phone call to make with you soon. Don't forget about that. All right, let's hop into it, Scaggs. There was golf, and golf just wrapped up this past week, and wasn't the team success that I don't think we were looking for up north. But I tell you what, individuals, I think there's a lot to be proud of. Ella Wilson walks away going back to back. Ends up shooting 2 under, 6 strokes ahead of the second place finishers. That's absolutely absurd. I mean, just in the whole girls rank, it's not even close. Like she is in another level. And the fact that she's a sophomore and she's won 2 in a row, she's well on her way to winning 4.
Could she? Yeah, I mean, that's the question: is could she become a 4-timer in 6A girls golf? Because man, she is just something special for the Vikings. What she was able to do on a pretty tough course too. I mean, you saw some of the scores the first day, and you're like, okay, like, and then she shaved strokes even, and that was the part that was just uberly impressive. But yeah, congratulations to Ella on a back-to-back state championship. That's a huge deal in 6A. Like that's a very competitive class for golf, and she did a phenomenal job in being able to bring a title back up north, an individual championship, but still a phenomenal effort.
Well, and I don't want to take away from Coeur d'Alene. They finished second as a team, 19
This is true.
behind.
This is true. Yeah.
Behind Rocky, who won their 5th straight title. So, I mean, forget Rocky. Coeur d'Alene's the best golf team in the state. So, I think that's something to be proud of. Leah Hevener finished 11th, shooting 18 over. Emily Stillert finished 15th. Kinsley Meyer finished 17th. And Josetta Williams finished 20th for Coeur d'Alene. On the boys' side, they finished 6th. Mountain View won that entire tournament by 50 strokes ahead of Coeur d'Alene. So insane how much better, Mountain View and just a lot of the Boise schools in general are compared to everyone else around the state. Ben Falk finished 7th, only shot 1 over, pretty solid day. Hunter Pequin shot, he got shot 12 over, finished 19th, and Brady Rupert had plus 17 and 27th place. Trey Lambert was the story out of the 6A boys. He finished 4th, shot 2 under, and he was actually the leader after day 1. Had an opportunity, just didn't get the some of the putts to fall, and ended up getting 4th. So a pretty good showing though for the Lake City Junior.
Yeah, no, and there's some great golfers up here, and like we're seeing great individual efforts and team efforts. Like the Coeur d'Alene girls getting 2nd, kind of went poo-poo a little bit, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just really dominant showing from both Mountain View and Rocky. But Ella Wilson did great in girls. But yeah, I mean, on the boys' side, being able to get a top 10 finish in 6A is you're playing solid golf. I mean, especially if you're leading after day 1 with that field that was there, that's a lot to be spoken for, because I mean, you got the level of competition is just through the roof with some of the guys that we've got playing in the state of Idaho.
Totally agree with you. One comment rolling in. Paul Kingsbury, love the new snazzy haircut. Well, after Wallace Minor Athletics said that I had a mullet, I just knew that needed to change.
They were ripping on my beard 2 weeks ago, and I still
yeah.
haven't shaved. So
I had to end that conversation. I don't want to be associated with that. It's all right. 5A for not soccer, golf. Lewiston finished 5th on the boys' side at a plus 91, 58 strokes behind Bishop Kelly, who won their 4th straight title. Sandpoint finished 6th at 97 over. For individuals standpoints, Tyler Zachary from Lakeland was the top finisher on the boys' side. He finished 6th. He was actually 7th last year. He shot 8 over, and the winner was from Bishop Kelly, who shot 2 under. For Sandpoint, Bodie Ekrit shot 12 over, placed 8th, and then the freshman from Lewiston, Ashton Literal, placed 17th, and Colt Walker right behind him in 20th place. So good showing from the boys. And then on the girls, it was kind of weird. Not weird, but Lakeland got revenge on Lewiston in the district tournament. Lewiston was able to upend Lakeland, got the edge, had a few more shots fall. This time around, Lakeland finished 6th, Lewiston finished 7th. The top finisher overall for the local teams was Shelby Arellano. She finished 15th, shot 39 over. So overall, pretty good showing and optimism, because a lot of these teams are juniors, sophomores, freshmen. There is a lot of room for these teams to grow.
That's the thing, and I was going to say that with Lewiston, especially on the boys' side. I mean, they're very sophomore, freshman heavy. So there's a lot of room for improvement with that team. That future success, the future's bright down the LC Valley for Lewiston golf on both boys and the girls' side, just with a lot of the youth that both those teams possess.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Another comment, Sean King, lighting seems a little bit better. Well, if you were watching last night's, I have an automatic light at my other, location, and it kept going out every 15 minutes. And so I'd go black a couple times in the Prepcast. It's all right, though. All right, switching gears to soccer. 6A districts are underway for the girls and already wrapped up. Lake City has punched their ticket, and they are now they're going to be in a play-in game on Saturday against the 5 seed from District 3. Maybe it's the 6 seed. I actually think it's the 6 seed from District 3. So they're going to have a good opportunity to place their way in the state. In 5A girls districts, believe, what do I know? That game's actually today. That game is today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm looking right now for us.
I think that one's today. Kind of forgot about that one.
I'm pulling it up for it.
That one's today. Moscow Sandpoint play number 1, number 2. That one's kicks off in just an hour from now. And winner goes to state, loser goes to the play-in game that'll be held at McCall Donnelly this weekend. I would think Moscow has the upper hand, but who knows? Sandpoint might pull something out of their hat.
I mean, Sandpoint won 6-2 over Lewiston on Saturday. Moscow won their match against Lakeland 5-0. Defensively, Moscow is just an absolute bear to to play against in girls soccer. So I would give Moscow the edge. I think, though, you look at a play-in option. I mean, Sandpoint, if they do finish second, either of those teams, I think, can win a state play-in match. So it's not unrealistic to see both of those teams playing at state this year. I think both have a great shot.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. On the boys side of things, I don't know if 4A has actually really got rolling yet. They just wrapped up their conference, their regular season last week. So districts actually start, at least for the boys, this Friday. I guess the first match actually starts today. So it looks like 4A is just kicking off a little bit behind 5A. Doesn't look like, if I had to guess, it looks like 4A gets 2 seeds for each side, girls and boys, so they don't have to worry about play-in matches. Where 6 and 5, they just
play a play-in match. Yeah, the second place team out of the IML does play the play-in game.
Gotcha. All right, so just starting a little late, I suppose. But on the 5A front for boys, Sandpoint defeated Lewiston 3-2. It was actually a game where Lewiston scored their first 2 goals within like 15 minutes of the match starting. And so it kind of, I think, had Sandpoint a little bit on their feet, and was able to get the win. They're now going to head down to Columbia, which is next Thursday for the state tournament. Lewiston will have to play the District 3 runner-up, and that's actually going to be at home in their playing game. What a lucky break for them to be able to play a playing game on your home turf.
Yeah, I mean, playing in Lewiston against Nampa on Saturday, that's going to be a tough match for the Bengals still. I mean, Nampa's a good team. It could be a winnable game. I mean, you never know. Depends on which Bengal team shows up. But, Sandpoint's looked good this year. Lewiston, though, getting the 2 goals right off the bat against Sandpoint and then seeing Sandpoint respond with 3 unanswered, I mean, really says a lot about the ability that Bulldogs team has to score. It says a lot about Lewiston, though, being able to put it in the net against a really, really, good top flight team too. So, Lewiston's going to have to be on their A game on Saturday against Nampa if they're going to hope to be playing a state tournament.
Yeah, agree with you there. Paul Kingsbury, once more, were you broadcasting from a stall in the office bathroom with an automated light? No, I was not. It would have been just as good, though, honestly. The only benefit about that is it's really good Wi-Fi and a heck of a lot better than what I have here. And so can't complain there, and multiple screens. That's always another plus when you're, operating as Brandon Baney for the night. So yeah, the Gem State game day last night was streamed. Highly recommend tuning into that, as myself, Sean Kane, and Jonah Walkenfoos were on the call there, and that was a bunch of fun getting a takeaway on the whole 11-man landscape. Lots of stuff going on. All right before football, there's volleyball Scaggs, and that is fully underway except 5A. 5A is the only classification that doesn't have it quite figured out, from my understanding.
You did skip over one thing real quick, and Coeur d'Alene won the district championship in boys soccer.
Oh, shoot, yes.
Yeah. Coeur d'Alene dropped the first match on Wednesday last week, 2-1, and then went on and won 5-0, 3-0 against Lake City to go to the state tournament. So or state play-in match, I should say. Then nobody gets an auto bid out of the North, but they're going to play a team. They're playing the 6th seed from District 3 in a play-in game at Lewiston High School on Saturday.
Totally spaced that, and it's their first state appearance since 2022 with a second-year head coach, I believe. So
yeah,
that's really good from the Coeur d'Alene standpoint. Seeing if Lake City, I think, isn't Lake City predominantly a pretty good soccer team?
They are the soccer. Technically, they would be the soccer school in Coeur d'Alene. Yes.
All right, fair assessment. All right, well. Speaking of, the 6A IEL for volleyball, it's all set up, and it goes Coeur d'Alene 1, Post Falls 2, Lake City 3. Post Falls got the win last night against Lake City to clinch that number 2 seed, and all that does is gives them home court advantage, because they have a play-in game that I believe starts on Saturday, and it's a loser out first round, and then they'll play Coeur d'Alene in a best of 3. Who would you expect to have the advantage there, Post Falls or Lake City?
Oh, I'm going to go Post Falls.
Lake City beat Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, I know they beat Coeur d'Alene, but they haven't really done a ton since. And so I'm leaning Trojans. They did play Coeur d'Alene tough the few times they played, later in the year. So I'm leaning Trojans to expect probably a state or district tournament match, championship match between setting up Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls. Yeah,
I agree with you there. On the 5A front, it's not locked in yet, but Lewiston looks to be the number 1 seed. Lakeland 2, Sandpoint 3, and Moscow is likely going to be that 4th team. But I think Lakeland and Moscow maybe still play. So that could be. I don't know if it'll change really. I have a pretty good feeling that's going to be the standing heading into district play next. Either this Saturday or Monday, I think, is when districts start.
Yep. So their match, Moscow and Lakeland play tomorrow at Lakeland. Lakeland will not gain ground enough to take the 1 seed. So Lewiston is locked in as the number 1 seed entering the district tournament.
Oh, have a really good chance to see how they can lock up a spot there, head down to state. In 4A, Timberlake did lock up the number 1 seed, although they did lose. I think they split sets with Bonners Ferry, or split matches with Bonners Ferry. Bonners Ferry obviously is the 2 seed in the 2-team conference, but that best of 3 starts on Monday in Timberlake and Spirit Lake. So who knows? Maybe Bonners Ferry surprises people. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air.
Make things interesting. Get the full meal deal and go three matches. So that's a possibility.
Absolutely. In 3A, it's exactly what we expected. They get 2 full seeds, and districts start on Tuesday. Kellogg 1, Priest River 2, and then I believe it's going to go Orfino, Grangeville, St. Mary's.
Correct.
And so that'll start off. And I tell you what, Kellogg's had a heck of a season. 1 loss on the year, which to what was it? Gonzaga Prep, one of the best teams in Spokane, or not Spokane, in the state of Washington. And so that's going to be. I think Kellogg's going to have a really good opportunity to make their run into state because they got robbed last year.
Yeah, no, I look at Kellogg and. I mean, they're in a buzzsaw right now. And I think that loss to G Prep, it was at a tournament too, the crossover in Spokane. That came at a good time. I really do think that you wanted to get tested. And they came back and manhandled the Chiawana team out of the Tri-Cities. And then they went on an absolute tear down the stretch, only dropping 1 set, and that was to Priest River. So Priest River is looking to be in a really good spot too as the 2 seed coming out of the CIL. I really would expect the way they've played and looking at body of work really is 1 Kellogg, 2 Priest River. But we know once you hit districts, funky things happen. It almost seems every year. So, get some consistency out of your team and maybe hopefully we see both those teams roll into the state tournament. That'd be a big deal especially for Priest River. That'd be
when was the last time Priest River made a state tournament run?
Yeah, and a chance, you're in a tough conference and your 2 losses on the year are to Kellogg. I mean, so that really says a lot about the competitive ability of that conference. It's really good. I mean, it's a deep league, and so that's going to bode well, I think, for Priest River if they are able to make the state tournament. They can play, and they stepped toe to toe with Kellogg last week, losing 3-1. But getting at least winning 1 set is still a big statement, I think, for that program.
Totally. In the chat, Kristen's saying Timberlake is not number 1. I am not entirely sure about that. I don't know. I could totally be wrong. Idaho Sports could totally be wrong. I wouldn't be shocked. It's kind of tough when it's a 2-team conference and they split. I mean,
I'm gonna have to add this up because it's gonna be who won. I thought it goes to who wins overall matches head to head. First one was 3-0, and then to Timberlake. The next one was 3-0 to Bonners Ferry. So, I mean, is it points scored at that point? So, if that's the case, I don't have the individual match points totals for both those teams. So, it says that the match on Monday is at Timberlake and at Timberlake on the Bonners Ferry side. So it looks like Timberlake is the higher seed, it would appear, based on what's showing up for the district schedule.
What do we know? I mean, you're either going to one place or the other. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if I would assume the higher seed hosts, that would make more sense. I mean, it would kind of match historical stuff, but we'll see. So
Yeah, who knows? 2A volleyball in the Scenic Idaho Conference, 1 full seed gets the bid to state, and districts start today. Lakeside's the number 1 seed. Wallace is right behind them with Clark Fork and Genesis Prep. Lakeside doesn't get talked enough, but Lakeside's had a really good volleyball season. And I'm just excited to see they've only really played teams from up north. Like, I don't know if they've traveled further south than maybe Moscow this year. I don't know if they played anybody south of Moscow. And so how will they do against teams from the White Pine or teams from District 3 or 4, 5, and 6? That's what I'm curious to see, because Lakeside's done really well up north for their classification.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They haven't actually traveled any further south than Tico in Washington. So they beat Tico Rosalia a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? So yeah, I mean, it's a team that hasn't really had to hit the road much. I mean, they've been playing mostly their District 1 teams, or a few JV teams like Bonners Ferry and Coeur d'Alene. They picked up a win over Coeur d'Alene's JV team earlier this year. But they've been playing really well. Their one loss, obviously in conference, was to Clark Fork. That was way back in mid-September, and so things change obviously since then. And hopefully maybe that was just a fluke. You never know. But yeah, and I said to begin with, I thought it was going to be Wallace and Lakeside at the end, and to watch out for the Miners. And I still stand on it. I still think Wallace is a really good program, really good team. They lost to Lakeside earlier 3-1, but it's a team. I mean, come district time, like those two teams just seem to duke it out usually year in and year out. So they took care of business with Genesis Prep the other night, 3-0, and they've got Clark Fork today. Wallace does. And then, like you said, district starts next week. So
yeah, they'll play Saturday in the semifinals, and then on Wednesday will be the district championship at North Idaho College. So if you have nothing to do on a Wednesday evening, go to the North Idaho College and go watch that match. That'd be.
Hey, maybe you'll even hear Brandon Bainey on the microphone as the public address announcer again.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, that might conflict with Idaho 8-man. Who knows there?
We'll see.
It might be a Scaggs. I think you could take over Idaho 8-man. Brandon could go be the PA announcer.
Yeah, I was told by all the Kendrick fans to finally lay into Coach Kirkland because he always poo-poos on the Tigers or whatever, and they don't know what they have to do to get some love up north. But yeah.
Well, next year it'll all be settled when it's Kendrick and Carey once again, and likely in another state title. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? In the White Pine in 2A, 2 seeds get to go, and districts start on Saturday. It goes Troy, Potlatch, Kamiah, Logos actually made the last season surge up to the 4th seed. Prairie's 5, Lapwai 6, Clearwater Valley 7, and Kendrick in 8. Prairie kind of fell off at the end of the year, had a really tough injury. That's Mia Anderson had a leg injury that's going to affect them later into the for the volleyball and even basketball. So that's a situation. They also lost their coach. She quit midway through the season. And so kind of chaos for Prairie, who started out as like a 3 or 4 seed. And now they're, in a really tough spot against a Logos team that just swept them the other night.
Yeah.
And Troy actually went to 4 sets against Potlatch. And so they're one of 3 teams this year to go to 4 sets with Troy. So maybe Potlatch has an opportunity. Hopefully they can just get their way into state. That would be the main thing if you're a Lager fan.
Yeah, and that nothing's ever set in stone until the dust settles after districts, obviously. So this is all prognostication, but Troy has just looked, loaded to make another run at a state championship this year. I know that 2A is a little bit better this year than a couple of years, but obviously they fell short last year, but for the first time in what seemed like ever. But I think the Trojans they're set in a really nice spot with how they're doing to be able to make a deep run. So I would not, it would shock me to see them not make the semifinals. I really would be completely shocked.
I'd be shocked if they're not playing in the state championship, to be honest with you. In the 1A North Star League, 1 seed goes to state, goes Quarter Christ, Mullen, and Kootenai. Quarter Christ was the team last year that had a play-in game against St. John Bosco, lost out. And so now 1 full seed, Quarter Christ, as long as they can seal the deal against Mullen and Kootenai, who they've had no problem with, on a really good spot to get their first state berth, I believe, in school history.
Yeah, that would be a huge deal for the Saints. I mean, a pretty young program, but you look at what they've been able to do early. I mean, it's been awesome to see the success from these programs with Court of Christ, and we've talked about it on the football side of things. They've got a big game this week, but on the volleyball floor, that was such a weird draw last year, having to do the play-in, and it'd be awesome to see the Saints just make the tournament field. I think that's going to be a big deal for that group, and obviously they got to take care of business with Mullen and Kootenai, but we've seen them do that this year. But no days off. You just got to keep going, keep playing until you're there.
Totally agree there. In the 1A White Pine, 1.5 seeds go. If you're in the play-in, you have to play the 2 seed from District 3. So like a Garden Valley, Council, Cascade, one of those teams. District start on Saturday. Genesee was able to get the number 1 seed. Nez Perce finished in 2. Timberline had 3rd place, Deary 4, St. John Bosco 5, and Highland 6. So Timberline started off strong. Nez Perce was able to get the upper edge. They were able to beat them recently. And then Genesee, who again, turning out to be one of the best teams in 1A. I'm excited to see how well they'll do. They play actually I think it's a Think Pink game. Maybe it's Thursday against Troy. So the 2 White Pine champs will do battle in a big game to raise money for breast cancer awareness. So that's always something that a lot of the schools, at least and I think statewide, do. And
yeah. And 1A is, man, I mean, as a field is crazy. I think as far as level of competition, and you don't really know who's going to win it. It's probably one of the deepest fields of any classification. Between the 1A out of District 3 with Horseshoe Bend has looked awesome. Salmon Rivers looked equally good. Council's right there too in the mix in the long pin. And then you throw in, obviously we've talked about Genesee. Carey has been playing really great lately. So has Hanson's been pretty good. And then you throw in Rockland, Ledo, or Mackey. Like those are all teams that you look at those in the bracket. And it's like, man, there's no easy matches in the state tournament this year for 1A volleyball.
Yeah, and last year was kind of a surprise with Grace Lutheran, I believe, was it the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. It's totally up in the air of who could actually walk away with that state.
And these could completely change just based on district tournament too, because some of these districts are just deep, especially that Rocky Mountain Conference that has Grace Lutheran in it as well. And you throw in Water Springs and North Gem. I mean, there's a bunch of teams that can, clip someone's wings early in a district tournament. And then you could be seeing a Rockland or a Ledo or a Mackey playing for their tournament life, in a loser out game, which would be pretty wild to see. But yeah, I mean, just doing a statewide kind of volleyball thing. This isn't a preview show, but you're talking about White Pine. Genesee played really, really well last year. Nez Perce was the team I kind of said like 2-3 weeks ago. I don't know if you remember. I was like, you were all on the Timberline train. I'm like, nah, the Nighthawks, man, keep an eye on this team. They could sneak in as the 2 seed, and here they are. They're playing second right now to Genesee, and they're playing really, really well lately. So, no easy nights in the White Pine.
You're spot on. Sean Kane, our East Idaho expert, he's saying Lador's calling it now, and Grace did win it last year. So yeah, maybe Sean just needs to pop in, give us some advice on how East Idaho matches up.
And this is what kind of slipped under the radar and why I was high on Nez Perce. They beat Genesee last week 3-2. They beat them in 5 sets last week.
They might do it.
I'm telling you.
The cool thing about
don't sleep on them.
The cool thing about the White Pine is once you hit the semifinals, those games are all played at LCSC. So it's not like you're playing at a home field. So you get to go to one of the cool, really nice college facility. And
it is.
I mean, one of the best, at least in our area. And so it's, totally up in the air for who could win. No home field advantage for sure.
No, and that's one thing too. Like you said it, the LC is a great facility. Especially they're great to the smaller schools within district too. Because I know in years past they've had the district basketball tournaments there. Lewiston's been a nice spot too, also with the new high school. But 1A state volleyball. Sean said it in the comments here. 1A state volleyball, it's going to be wild. It's going to be an awesome tournament this year.
I totally agree. Watch out for Genesee or Nez Perce. Who knows? Maybe they'll make a run.
Yeah.
All right, one more thing before we hit football. Academic state champs. Kendrick football was the state champs in the 2A ranks. They had a 3.55 GPA. That's insane. How much did Ty Kep? I don't know if Ty Kep could answer a lot of the questions they're getting quizzed on.
He was actually pretty smart. Like, I'll give Ty credit. He academically he's pretty good. So
I mean, 1 year removed, Ty, you got to know a lot of the answers still.
So yeah, no, that's an awesome deal for the kids that they're, and what success they've had on the field, which has been a ton. Getting it done in the classroom too. I mean, to be a well-rounded student athlete, putting the student in the athlete part. That congratulations to the Tigers on the academic state championship.
Absolutely. And then Moscow girls were the academic state champs in 5A soccer, and they had a 3.826 GPA. And then the Grangeville boys won the 4A boys soccer state champs as they had a 3.7 GPA. So another shout out to those two schools from up north. That's a great accomplishment. That doesn't get recognized enough, but it really should.
Getting it done in the classroom, that's a great job from all those kids. And we talk about the rigors of athletics, but the rigors of academics doesn't go unseen either. And there's a lot of work hitting the books, also hitting your field of play.
With you there. All right, let's switch gears to football. We'll do our Week 8 recap. Lewiston, unstoppable versus Sandpoint, had the 54-27 win. Bonners Ferry tops Moscow for the first time since 2011. Kendrick beats up on the Cubs, is in firm control to White Pine, and then Genesee completes crazy comeback versus Lakeside. Scaggs, if you had to pick one, what's the game? What's the recap? What's the bullet point?
Go back to the list real quick. Sorry, I was looking at a different screen. I mean, Bonners Ferry beating Moscow. I think that's the one that should be really talked about, is what the Badgers have been able to do this year. And we saw them make the playoffs a few years ago for the first time in forever. And we were lucky. I was lucky to be on the call for their first round playoff win over Wood River that year. But what it means to this town and the team, and we saw the success that they've been having on the basketball court the last few years, but some of the same characters, obviously, on the football field too, but just steadily getting it done. I mean, that's the thing, is we've seen them overcome injuries and we've seen them overcome sickness and everything else, and they just still win games. And it's a team that kind of gets slept on in the rankings a little bit too. And gosh, I mean, you look at that rushing attack. Keenan Moss is a stud. And, and they beat a Moscow team that's getting healthy. That's the thing too, that wasn't a depleted Moscow team necessarily. That was just earning the dub on Friday night. They played well and they just beat the Bears flat out in, both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively.
Yeah, we got some stats for him. Keenan Moss. I can't believe how quick I pulled this up. I looked up Max Prep's first school to pop up, Bonners Ferry. I swear the internet's way too smart. On the year, Keenan Moss, 166 carries, 1,300 yards, averaging 8.2 yards a carry, 194 yards a game, and has 15 touchdowns to boot. And not a lot in the receiving. I was expecting a little bit more. He does have one touchdown receiving. That's just because he runs the ball just about every single play.
Pounds the rock, man. He had one game, what was it, 3 carries for 147? I mean, come on. Like, that
killed his stats.
It was like a 39 yard per carry average or something ridiculous. It was like 40-something per carry. That team, and obviously it doesn't happen without the dudes up front. He'll be the first one to tell you that his line's getting to work, and there's some big boys on that group. And and one thing I think they get so oversided a little bit is that Suleo Bubakari, we talk about him as an offensive threat because of being 6'7" with that frame and everything. The dude's willing to stick his neck out there in the blocking scheme, and he really does take care of business on the edge and he does a great job blocking. And so you watch some of that Bonners Ferry film, there's a few guys in the middle that just absolutely dominate too. But Keenan gets it done, man. He picks up and puts it down too. He's deceptively fast. He's a load and he's hard to tackle. I want to see Bonners make a run this year, kind of as an underdog in the playoffs. 4A is so tough. It's a brutally tough bracket. I would love to see Bonners just ball control and shock someone this year. They're due for a big playoff win. I would love to see them make a push this year.
Absolutely. Like we said in the chat, Max Oswald, great athlete, 2 defensive touchdowns on the year as well. I won't give you my recap because I want to hit football stickers first, Scaggs. Who was your football sticker your helmet sticker for the week?
Just because I saw him, I mean, it goes. We don't talk a ton, and he played 3.5 quarters. Maddox Kirkland's so flipping good, efficient as all get out. He's a great leader on the field. They've got so many good athletes in that team too that he just distributes so well to. Clement Hagan and Orion Stewart and Raleigh Rhodes at center and all. I mean, Cade Silflo and just so many dudes that he can distribute the ball to. But he just does such a great job running that offense. Maddox Kirkland threw for 330 yards, 5 TDs on Friday night. That's my helmet sticker. I mean, he played a lights out game. He dismantled the secondary of Kamiah and at times just made it look easy.
I'm with you there. I'm going to give it to a team and a coach. I'm going to go Genesee versus Lakeside. And I'm going to go Jason Hansen and the Genesee Bulldogs in a whole. I cannot imagine what's going through Jason Hansen's head as he walks out on the field and sees Tyson Charlie for the first time of the year, and a guy that he has not prepped for. He hasn't coached against him ever before. Yeah. And you're down 42-14 at half. Most teams bail it. They mail it in. They'll head to next week, and they come back, win 50-42, shut Tyson Charlie down. That is one of the most impressive coaching adjustments that I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. Unbelievable effort. And yeah, I mean, and it was like, why is Lakeside so down this year when we were so high on them going into the year? And it was like all of a sudden Tyson Charlie and Jalapeno didn't turn out and they're getting boat raced by 50, and all of a sudden Tyson shows up and here they are in dogfights, and that's it says a lot about him as a competitor, but he's just a phenomenal athlete, and you can't really game scheme for him with what he's able to do with not only his arm but his legs. I mean, he can pick it up and put it down and outrun anybody, and to be able to adjust like that and get the dub when you're in a hole early and come back and win going away in a tough game that was kind of a knockout drag out for Genesee. We saw them get a big win over Wallace a couple weeks ago too. Genesee's quietly just kind of sitting right there in a great spot for a really, really good seed this year. They could make some noise. I think 1A is wide open. And, they're going to be out with the exception, I think, of Cary. I think it's, if they get the opposite side of the bracket, that could be a team we see playing, in mid-late November. I mean, playing either for a state championship or a chance to play for the championship.
I totally agree. I'm covering their game next week against Deary, and I mean, although I get Kendrick Logos this week, I'm honestly more excited for the Genesee. I'm excited to see Genesee play. In the chat, Mandy Edwards Asher, can we get a shout out for Lakeland? 100%. I'm not going to read the whole website link, but 100%. Go to that website down in the comments and put your email in. Super easy, confirm it, and you can help Lakeland win a chance at getting a $1 million stadium remodel and renovation. And
I'm going to try to share. I don't know if the QR code would work or not, though. I'll give the website. It's www.tmobile.com. You can also search tmobile.com Friday night 5G lights Lakeland High School. You can go in there and vote. And I'll tell you this, there's a secret to it that I've figured out, and you can say that I'm being unethical. They accept any email. It does not even have to be a real email address. So you can just go in there, enter any email address you want, hit refresh, enter another fake email address, hit refresh and enter another. This morning, I voted 25 times in about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So I suggest everybody go do the same thing. Ethics go out the window at this point. They need all the help they can get. Yeah, I'm telling you to cheat. So, yeah, vote for Lakeland High School, the T-Mobile.com Friday night 5G lights. Get on there. Give the Hawks all of your votes. Make up emails. Have your friends make up emails. Get out there and get it done.
You know, us, the North Idaho Prepcast and the East Idaho Prepcast couldn't be on two further, sides right now. You have the East Idaho Prepcast who's talking about sportsmanship, which is awesome and
screw that,
important.
man. Go cheat and let Lakeland win.
And we're promoting Lakeland. We want Lakeland a new stadium.
It's $1 million facility upgrade, and they get the weight room paid for by Gronk, not Grok. That's AI. By Gronk. Yeah. So, that would be phenomenal for Lakeland if they get a chance. They're still in the top 5, but they need some help. And I think that there's some other schools that have figured out the loophole about emails. So go cheat for them, please.
Absolutely. Okay, let's look ahead on the football slate. Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls play Lake City, Lewiston in 6A, 5A clash. In the other big game in 5A is Sandpoint, Lakeland. Let's stop there. Pick one of those games. Which one stands out to you?
Sandpoint, Lakeland, man. We saw Sandpoint stub their toe against – more than stub their toe. I mean, they got boat raced by the Bengals last week with a running clock. Sandpoint's got to figure it out if they're going to have a chance of sharing a claim to the league championship. And then they're going to have to hope for help from Lewiston for that one to go through. But, yeah, I mean, it's do or die time. I think they're in the playoffs. They're safely in the field. I'll say that. Where and who they're going to play is going to be predicated based on winning or losing this game. Lakeland with a win, it's a championship game next week against the Bengals. So, if Lakeland wants to say we're here, we're for real, we were a semifinal team last year and we're looking to make bigger noise this year. This is their week to make a statement. They've got to play clean football. Sandpoint's not going to give them any easy games, especially playing at Sandpoint. I mean, that place is that's where good teams go to die sometimes. I mean, you just go up there and you get snake bit playing at Sandpoint. That's a tough place to play in a great atmosphere. That's going to be a fun game. And so I look at that and, the differences in matchups, Lakeland's offensive line versus Sandpoint's defense, and, Sandpoint's vaunted offense that they've had has seemed to cool off the last couple weeks a little bit. Lakeland's got a great defensive, front seven. We didn't even talk about the back end of that defense and how good they are at forcing turnovers. I mean, they're averaging, I think they're forcing 3 or 4 turnovers a game the last 5 games. It's crazy what they've been able to do on the defensive side of the ball. And they got guys out there. We've talked about Jace Taylor. We've talked about Tamagni. We've talked about, Peyton Hillman at quarterback. I'm telling you, the most fun player to watch in the state of Idaho right now, I'm going to Cash Lund, hands down. Cash Lund is a dog, and he is everywhere. Defense, offense, it doesn't matter. They need a big first down. It's Cash. And if they're on the back end, they need to stop or they need an interception or something, a big knockdown. He's there. And so this Lakeland team is for real. I know people say they haven't really played anyone, but they've got to make a statement. They've got to gain some ground to get their ranking and the max preps up. They've got to make a statement this week with Sandpoint and get a big win.
Yeah, Sean Kane in the chat. Safe and max preps don't mix. I think Lakeland needs to get the best possible ranking to make a run at state. Well, you think about that, what's the best spot for them? I mean, you don't want to be in the four slot because then you're stuck with, I don't know, Hillcrest or Skyline or Bishop Kelly, or you're a 3 seed and you're stuck with one of the 3 anyway. So yeah, I agree. You definitely want to try to get into that 4 spot at least, if not higher, to at least host as many playoff games as possible and just continue to. I agree. You actually don't want to be in a 5 seed because then you head down to likely Skyline or it's just not a good spot to be in. I agree. That's where they need to be. The games that I look at in the Big Schools League is both Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and Lake City, Lewiston. Coeur d'Alene should be favored to win, as should Lewiston. And both those teams, I think the opposites are going to be trying to play spoiler. Post Falls just trying to, make a run, see if they can win their league. It's on the table.
If they pick up a win this week, they've got Lake City left on the schedule too. I mean, a couple wins, they could be back in the picture for an at-large bid. So the Trojans, they're not going away quietly. I mean, I know they lost to Moses Lake last week, but they're going to try to make some noise against Coeur d'Alene, who's without Caden Simmons, and so he went down with a collarbone injury, and it's the Tanner Stern show running the offense for the Vikings. So I don't think it's a gimme for Coeur d'Alene by any means. I think Post Falls is going to make it tough for him. They're going to make him earn it. You can watch that game on IdahoSports.com on Friday night.
Good plug there. Yeah, you're right. I think everyone thinks the 6A IEL is wrapped up, and it's not. Post Falls hasn't played anybody yet. They're like, no, I know we're hurt. I know we're down, and I know we've kind of struggled throughout the year, but hey, we have 2 games that can decide our season, and we have an opportunity to make it in.
They've had some barn burners with the Vikings the last few years too. So I mean, historically, I don't think Post Falls is intimidated by Coeur d'Alene necessarily, just because they've played the Vikings tough the last few years, picking up a couple wins.
Yeah. No, and then I think for the Lewiston's front, like if you're Lewiston, this is the biggest trap game that you could have against a Lake City team that is just gunning for a win. They want a win, and it'd be the perfect time to take it out on this Lewiston.
And they play good teams tough. That's the thing. They play good teams tough.
I think Lewiston.
They played Highland tough the last 2 years. So I mean, it's not like they're asleep like a gimme. It's not a gimme game at all.
No, Lewiston's going to be in for a dogfight. 4A Moscow Timberlake play. That's try to build on to next year. I don't think these teams are going to have a chance to get into Max Preps rankings. 4A is fairly solidified. I think it's going to be pretty hard to get up into that 12 spot when you're conference champs at 12 already. In 3A, Priest River St. Mary's is the big game. We also have Kellogg and Grangeville. Priest River St. Mary's, though, if St. Mary's could pull an upset, that's where things would get really sporty for the CIL. And I don't even want to know what happens when you come down to 3-way ties. But that's what Priest River doesn't want to be in. They do not want to be in one of those spots. St. Mary's coming off a 52-0 loss from Grangeville last week. Yeah. In 2A, the big game of the week is Logos and Kendrick. I'm excited for that one. I've been looking forward to it all year. Logos's defense, their depth, their length, their speed against Kendrick. And if Kendrick
and their everything. I mean,
you're right.
You want to force Kendrick to run the ball? They're like, fine, we'll go I formation and throw a Ryan Stewart at you. Like, or you might get Tanner Clemenhagen as a sledgehammer at fullback, running at you like a dump truck full of bricks going downhill. I mean, there's no easy game. How Kendrick can play multiple styles, and that's what I think people don't really realize. They just think, oh, they'll just chuck it all around the yard. No, like this team will line up and run it on you. Maddox Kirkland can put his foot in the ground and go too. He can scoot too. So Logos will have their hands full defensively. I think the biggest question is, can Logos's offense kind of replicate some of the success they've had the last few weeks and keep that momentum moving on the offensive side of the ball and control the game by not giving Kendrick the ball back on 4 and outs?
Mm-hmm. The one game that we watched Logos lose this year was against Kamei, and it was a game where I don't want to say Kamei didn't win the game, because they did. They made huge plays, but Logos killed themselves. It was repetitive, false start after false start after, just somebody not being on the same page. That's why they lost the game. They didn't play their best football. And so if they go and play a perfect game like they did last year on this exact same time, they're going to have an opportunity to win. But it's going to be you're going to have to play darn near perfect. Also, Kamei Potlatch, that is a huge game.
That's a good game. That's a good game. Yep. That's a really good game.
Yep, that's going to decide a little bit more of, hopefully Kamei can come back after their first loss of the year. How will that affect them against a well-coached team? And Potlatch is trying to still hold on to a home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. And then in 1A, there are 3 big games: Wallace Corder-Christ, Lewis County Deary, Lakeside Clark Fork. Scaggs, what's your pick? No, and also Genesee Timberline as well, but I would say those 3 are the big
I'm going
ones.
to state the obvious. It's going to be that Corder-Christ Wallace game. You look at the running attack of the Saints versus kind of the everything attack from Wallace, because they can get you from different angles. They've got a really good running back that's a sophomore. They've got the quarterback, obviously Cooper Miller is just a dynamic athlete. we saw Wallace kind of sleepwalk into that Genesee game and get boat raced a little bit. And, since then they've kind of woken up, and that's going to be, it's for the league championship, and that's going to be for seeding in districts or for state tournament too. So there's a lot at stake in this game, kind of a, winner take all de facto. I believe the winner is going to get a bye in the first round as well. So that could be, there's a lot at stake in this one, but both two very good teams. Can Wallace, I would give them the edge with the depth. Quarter Christ, I'm going to give the edge in the running game. If it's sloppy field conditions, the Saints can make it pay in the running game. That's the thing. And Grant Clemens is a pretty good passer. I mean, obviously he should be with his dad as a former NFL quarterback, but I think that's the one thing that doesn't get talked about a ton with Quarter Christ is that they've got some great receivers too. I mean, Greg Haynes is great out there on the outside. He's a good threat for the Saints. So if they can stay healthy, they can control the ball with the running game. The Saints are going to make things interesting, and it could be a one possession game. I mean, realistically, we could be seeing this one go down to the wire.
Yeah, whose defense is the best? The game that my eyes are on is Lakeside and Clark Fork. I'm all on this Tyson Charlie bandwagon right now. I'm curious to see how far he can take them. If you get a win against Clark Fork, it's a team you lost by 18 earlier in the year. I think it's on the table they could win. Do you have a shot to upset Wallace the following week? I don't know. It's going to be chaotic. I'm just curious to see how teams are game planning this late into the year with Tyson Charlie back into the mix.
Yeah, that's gonna be, and I think the Lewis County game is gonna be a fun one too. And shout out to Monty Madrell. I actually talked to him. I ran into him while hunting on Saturday. Great guy, and so it's like he had a bye last week, and he said it came at the right time. Like he's like, we needed that bye. We needed the week off to regroup. It's a team with Deary coming to town. They could get a big win. I mean, that would be huge for Lewis County to be able to get to quote unquote steal that win. I think people are kind of looking at Deary as like the clear number 2 in the conference, and Lewis County, they've got athletes too. That's going to be a big game down there between both those teams. That's going to be a great game.
Yeah. Last final touches on this episode 10. Broadcasting games this weekend. Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls. Highly recommend tuning in. Also, Kendrick Logos. That's where I will be for that one. Gridiron game picks. Make sure you fill them in. They just popped up. Paul Kingsbury put it in the chat not too long ago. So head on down to the website, fill in your picks, see if you can win $25 this year. See if you can beat one of us.
Head on over to tmobile.com/brand/Friday-night-5G-light/G and go vote for Lakeland and cheat like crazy. Fake emails, any email you win. So do fake at fake.com. It works. That's the one I used today. So yeah.
I can't wait to see the title of this podcast. I cannot imagine.
Cheaters will win, right? Cheaters prosper. Now,
hashtag
as Sean Kane said, it's a contest. These methods are agreeable in the contest. That's the only time it works.
Hashtag we are Lakeland. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody should be going for Lakeland right now.
Yeah, go vote for Lakeland. Go vote early. Go vote often. And if you get 50 in, go get 50 more. Like, just keep pumping them out. They need all the help they can get to get back up the leaderboard. It would be awesome to see Lakeland get a stadium upgrade, and they've already gotten $30,000 from T-Mobile for this run they've put together. And I was actually there. T-Mobile came on site. They sent corporate folks from like Florida to the game against Timberlake, and they had a big kind of community party to kick off and gather votes. It was an awesome night, and it was also something we didn't talk about last week. The first time in history I've ever seen a drone delay during a football game.
Yeah, what is that about?
So somebody was flying the drone. I think it was somebody from T-Mobile was trying to get aerial shots of the game and the community and everything else in the stands, and they had it hovering over like the 45-yard line, probably 50 feet off the ground. And the referees just would not let the kids play with the drone over the field. And we were paused probably for a good 6-7 minutes. And I don't know if anybody figured it out until a while later that, there was why we were actually sitting there waiting, because you couldn't really see the drone very well. But the quarterback from Timberlake was the one that noticed it. And, there's rules within the rule book that no aerial drones fly over the field of play, and it was in the field of play. So yeah, first time I've ever seen it. It was a first for everything, but that was wild.
Well, that makes way more sense what you guys are having happen to you. All right. Well, last thing, go Mariners. See if the Mariners can clinch game 3.
Two more.
Let's
go.
All right. Yeah. As for us at the North Idaho Prepcast, I'm Hayden Uhlenkott. That's Ryan Scaggs. We will see you next week on IdahoSports.com.